What's going on? We're back once again. The Boxing Roundtable. I'm your man Jose, aka the Dominican Dream, alongside
the Maniac,
and we are ready to talk
boxing.
This time, the much anticipated David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade.
Ooh, boy.
Showtime pay-per-view, one of the last, if not the last Showtime pay-per-view fights. But Benavidez versus Andrade, one of the biggest fights of the year. And I think, Sean, there's been a lot of big fights this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of big fights that it might be even hard to count them right here and mention all of them off the top of my head. But a lot of them, we definitely knew that we're gonna deliver. We said we did. We expected them. We expected those fights too, and they didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of various reasons. One of them being not that this was a mega fight, but the one that we just saw this past week here with Shakur Stevenson and Little Santos. But Crawford Spence in the ring looked like a mismatch.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo Charlo, many people thought that would be a mismatch because of the weight. Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia was a mismatch.
Mm-hmm.
So those are fights that we were all looking forward to, but it didn't really deliver in the ring.
No.
This one is the only one that I predict will. Because David, he don't come to play games.
No.
Whether he's drained or not, like he did look in his last fight, look a little weak.
Yeah.
But he still found the energy. He still found the dog somewhere to come back and really beat the shit out of Caleb Plant. Kenny Bayless tried to help him as much as he could, but he only made things worse because David ended up, instead of stopping him, which he could have if it wasn't for the pauses of Kenny Bayless, he just ended up beating him more and more and beating him down to the point that let's see if Caleb is ever the same fighter again. Now, this fight, both guys are always ready.
Yeah.
Andrade is always ready. Benavidez is always ready. And not only are they always ready, they know and understand this is the biggest fight of both of their careers.
Hands down.
One, because it's Demetrius is not only his best opponent, but his biggest fight. And Benavidez has had big fights, maybe even bigger fights, but this is his best opponent.
Correct.
So expect this one to be a clash of styles, a war of attrition, boxer puncher versus puncher pressure fighter. It's interesting, man. Sean, of course, on that card, before we get into breaking that fight down, the card is a worthy mention.
Very.
You got Hector Luis Garcia, the Android, Dominican fighter, versus Lamont Roach.
Yeah.
You got Subriel Matias, the Puerto Rican boogeyman.
Yeah.
Because of his power, versus Sojahan Ergashev. And, of course, the co-main event is Jamal Charlo versus Jose Benavidez Jr., which is David Benavidez's older brother, but smaller brother, smaller fighter. So that's a card that's definitely worth watching.
Definitely.
From beginning to end. You don't gotta, go get something to eat before the co-main event starts. Or no, get your shit from 9 o'clock. Get your beers and your alcohol and your food and all that. Get that ready.
No doubt.
That being said, I'm looking forward to really all of these matchups, even the Jose Benavidez Jr., because we want to see Jose Benavidez. We know is a one-legged fighter. He's a good fighter, but he's a one-legged fighter. And we know Jamal Charlo is a good fighter, but he's had a lot of issues lately.
Hasn't been in the ring in a while.
His life ain't doing too well on a personal level.
Yeah. So
what does he have left? Both fighters talk a lot of shit. They both got the same attitude.
Yeah.
They fighting each other. Let's see. Hector Luis Garcia has proven to be a very solid fighter. He beat up the prospect
Chris Colbert
out of Brooklyn.
B-Hop.
And he gave Gervonta Davis quite an entertaining fight. A much better fight than the other Garcia did.
Yeah, way better.
And so Real Matias, there's no secret what he's coming to do.
Yeah.
And the other guy that he's fighting He's a European fighter who's 23-0 undefeated, and looks like he has a good knockout ratio as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, get to the meat and potatoes, because that's what we do on this show.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Sean? How do you see this real interesting and maybe even perplexing matchup, Demetrius Andrade versus David Benavidez?
Yeah, man. First of all, I agree with my man Dream here. I think this fight is going to deliver based on just styles. You have the boxer puncher and Demetrius Andrade against the pressure puncher in Benavidez. Now, anyone that's watched Benavidez, we know why he's deemed the Mexican monster, right? Because he just comes forward and throws punches and bunches. But something that goes a little bit, to the that people overlook is his jab. His jab. That's not a great jab, but it's a good jab. And that's how he starts. Whenever you watch Benavidez fight, he'll come in, he'll start popping it, boom. When he starts popping it, now the combinations are coming. And then it gets ugly for you. But the fighter he's fighting, Boo Boo Andrade, without a doubt, is the most dangerous fighter Benavidez is going to fight. Because
And the most talented.
And the most talented, exactly. He does a multiple of things very good. He can move, but has very good footwork, has very good boxing ability, has a very good jab, and has good power. Not great, but very good power.
He's got real good power.
So he's a fighter that could stop you. He's dropped a lot of his fighters. Some of them he didn't finish, but this is not a fighter that Benavidez is going to walk through, guys. He's not going to walk through Boo Boo. Trust me. I do not see that unless he comes in at 200 and something pounds, which is very possible. Look, in order for Boo Boo, for me, if he's going to win this fight, you mentioned it, war of attrition. The guy has to be in tip-top shape because whoever fights Benavidez, at some point, you have to walk through that fire, guys. It's just the way he fights. You're going to have to walk through it. And that means you got to be in tip-top shape because if you're not, then Benavidez is going to start to wear you down. And when he wears you down, you already know what happens after that. He stops you. But how I see this fight playing out, I think it's going to be a fight of two halves. I think Boo Boo's going to bank in enough rounds in the early. Then Benavidez, he gets that second win, that second gear. Once he starts kicking in, it gets ugly. But then I think the championship rounds, Boo Boo are just going to edge it. And I see Boo Boo winning this fight, probably a split decision. And, to most people, it's going to be an upset. Not to me, but to most people. But it's also a fight Benavidez could win. And stop Boo Boo as well, because he's just that good. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. So I expect Boo Boo to fight the fight of his career, because this is the fight of his career, and show people why he has been avoided for so long. So I can't wait to see that, but it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm leaning towards Boo Boo via split decision just because he's a boxing ability and able to move, and he's going to give Benavidez a lot of angles and turn him a lot, so he won't be able to land those punches and bunches at times. So I expect Boo Boo to, have his hands raised at the end. Split decision. I'm going.
I'll tell you what, those are big words. And those are really big words, not so much to me, but to a lot of people that don't know boxing the way you do. Because you're one of the people that I know ever met personally in my life that knew more about boxing, and more so than most people I've ever met. Mm-hmm. So,
and vice versa.
To a lot of people, to the hype gobblers. And I'm not saying Benavidez is overhyped, because he's not. He's a monster. But to the people that only follow what everybody else says.
Correct.
That only believe what everybody else believes.
Correct.
That only believe what is given to them to swallow, and they swallow it. They don't form their own opinions and ideas. To them, they might really say, "Oh, that nigga with the blue hat don't know what he talking about." He know what he talking about. The thing is, he can dissect a fight. He can look at a fight, understand talent, understand ability, and make his conclusion based on that, right? Form an opinion based on that. So I don't. That's a very logical, great breakdown, great prediction. As far as for me, when the fight was made, Sean, even before the fight was made, I said to you, I got boo boo. I got boo boo.
Yeah, you did.
After watching recent things from both fighters, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Because sometimes I see David work out and said, "Yo, he looks deflated, bro. He looks like he has to make weight first and then train to fight." And then there's other videos that I see of him working out. He looks sharp. He looks strong. And I saw the Caleb Plant fight again. Caleb Plant ain't no Demetrius Andrade in the power department, but he does have heart and he can move. But it's easy to move. It's easy for a fighter like Benavidez to come forward on a guy like Caleb Plant because there's nothing really coming back. Probe and jab. Sometimes the other hand will come out. He doesn't have. I think he has problems with the hand. Doesn't throw much anyway, and when he does, it don't mean shit. Not to a guy like Benavidez with his kind of chin. Yeah. Here he gonna have a guy in Boo Boo where I don't care who you are. Boo Boo throws enough punches and hits you, he gonna make you think about going in there. So will we see the same Benavidez? I believe we will as the fight goes on. But then I look at the big moments in the career of Demetrius Andrade. He hasn't had any. These are gonna be big, bright lights. And I'm 37. Boo Boo is 35 years old or something like that. 35, 36 years old. Benavidez is right in his prime. 26, 27 years old. He's right in his prime. He's not before his prime or after. He's in his prime. And with that kind of style that he has, when you're an older fighter, be it a guy like Andre who doesn't have miles on him, because he don't got no miles on him. Of course, he has the miles of training camps. He has the miles of being in the sport for a long time. But in the ring, as far as wars, and he don't got none of that. So I believe his body is fresh and his mind is sharp. But I do give the youth and overall strength, the attrition advantage, I give it to Benavidez in this fight. Now, I said it before to you. You're only as good as your last fight. Benavidez was losing that fight against Caleb Plant.
Yeah, he definitely was.
Until about, the 7th, 8th round?
About the 6th.
Yeah, about the 6th or something like that. Because we can't say 7 to 8 because then he would have lost.
Yeah.
But he was losing the fight. And not only was he losing the fight, it's the way he was looking or the way he wasn't looking. And he wasn't looking like a prior Benavidez. Even physically, he didn't have the muscle mass or the volume. The physical volume. He's not a cut-up guy anyway, but he didn't have the physical volume that he did against the Canadian Lemieux. That he did against the black kid that he sparred before. The kid with the braids that was trying to give him a fight with Benavidez. Just
I remember they were talking shit, but he stopped them. Benavidez told him, "I'm gonna stop you."
Yeah. He's a good. The kid put on a great effort.
He was like a last minute replacement.
Put on a great effort, but at the point is Benavidez against Plant didn't look that way, and we said to each other, and this is no secret. Everybody that knows boxing, that follows boxing, knows this. Excuse me. It's been talked about for years. Is he too big for the weight? Is he weight trained? You don't want to come in there 70, 60% against a guy like Demetrius Andrade because then you're in trouble. So my concern for David Benavidez is that one. My concern for Andrade is you haven't been active enough, and you haven't been active enough against top fighters. Not because of your fault. We know that. But the effect that has on you is that iron sharpens iron. So you're only gonna be good, and you're only gonna be able to really fulfill your greatness when you fight other good top fighters. And Andrade hasn't. So he's gonna have to do things and resort to things in this fight. He's gonna be asked questions he's never been asked before.
Correct. That's 100% correct.
Can he answer them at this age under these big bright lights?
Against a fighter like that,
we don't know. And that's why a lot of people are picking Benavidez, and I understand. But to say Demetrius
has no shot.
No shot, and to say that he's a bummer, to say that on paper already Benavidez is gonna wash him up, then y'all don't know boxing. If it happens that way, it happens that way. But for people that know boxing, it's not supposed to happen that way. This is a 50-50 fight.
Oh yeah.
I know some people say that a lot recently about recent fights. Nah, this one is 50-50. This is a 50-50 fight. You know, we believe the Spence Crawford was too. But this right here,
yeah,
this is a 50-50 fight.
Definitely.
That being said,
the fighter was Kyrone Davis.
That
was his name.
Thanks for looking that name up.
Yeah.
Well, Benavidez did not look against Caleb Plant like he did against him. Not because of the style.
Yeah.
But because I'm talking about if he was in there with one of those things that you see at the not even a fighter. If Benavidez walked into the ring against I'm talking about how he looked solely himself on his body. I don't care if he was in there fighting one of those things that be like this at the car sales and shit and balloons.
The inflated balloon. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the way Benavidez looked physically and his output and his the sting on his punches, at least early on in the fight, and like he had any. You can't do that against this boy. Even though we know that the second half of the fight, he's going to turn it on because he's going to turn it on. Correct. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
That being said, do I gotta pick a winner? Because I don't know.
You gotta pick a winner.
I really don't.
You gotta pick a winner, man. This is how it works.
As of right now, I don't know. But given my most recent thoughts, I think that the will and the stamina of Benavidez will make him victorious in a drag-out boxer versus puncher modern classic.
Yeah, I mean that's
my prediction. I think he wins the fight, and he could possibly stop Boo Boo late. But I will be rooting for Andrade because I like him.
Yeah,
but I like Benavidez too.
Yeah,
because sometimes they think because I'm Hispanic, I'm supposed to always ride.
No.
With the Hispanic.
We don't do that here.
I like Andrade, man. I like him I like both guys, man. Yeah. I like both their personalities and
correct.
You gotta like Benavidez because Benavidez, he not in there picking and choosing. He wants to fight the best. So bro. I don't care. I don't care who you is. I don't care what you say. If you do that, I don't care what kind of personality you got. But if you are bent on fighting the best, I gotta like you because that's what we watch the sport for.
Correct.
You know, so yeah, I think Benavidez is gonna pull it out, late stoppage, or unanimous decision. But I could see him definitely getting beat. Shit, I could see him getting knocked out. Yeah.
All right. I just think
or drop.
Yeah, a drop maybe. Okay, as far as that part goes, I could see Boo Boo dropping him. As far as stopping David, I think he's just gonna come in too big.
It's hard to stop.
It's gonna be hard, but
I'm saying he has the talent.
He has the talent,
but we know that a lot of times he lets guys off the hook and he just drops him 3 or 4 times, which
Yeah.
is enough to win you the fight already.
Yeah.
And just keeps beating you. And
Correct.
Then you know,
Yeah,
if he beats you 4 rounds and drops you 3 times,
he wins.
He
That's
won the fight.
Yeah, I just think if there's somebody that's gonna get stopped, it will be Boo Boo. I hope that's not the case.
Most
I'm
likely.
rooting for Boo Boo. I'm not only I'm picking him, I'm rooting. I'm not picking him because I'm rooting for him. I just feel that's just how I feel. But
And we definitely don't root for the same guy all the time.
yeah, and I like the same thing like Dream said, man. I like Benavidez. How can you not like a fighter? He don't play with his fool, man.
Nah.
He goes in that ring and he brings it, bro. He has one of the most fan-friendly fights in all of boxing. And like
if you don't like him,
yeah, you a hater.
You
bro.
hate.
You just a hater.
You could say, I'm not gonna say you don't like his style.
Yeah.
Cool. Like
Correct.
you like slicksters, right? You don't like Benavidez' style. He flat-footed. He only a come forward fighter. He don't move his head. I understand. But if you don't like the action that he puts on in the ring, then you hating. Then go watch golf or something. Or go rewatch Stevenson de los Santos 5 times.
You broke it down better. In that eye, yes. Bro, he's an entertaining fighter, right? We want to watch boxing. We want to watch good fights, but we want to be entertained. That's part of it. It's entertainment, sports. That's what it is. We don't want to watch Stevenson de los Santos.
At the end of the day, yeah, it's entertainment, business. That's what it is. People pay to be entertained.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah. I'm gonna that. I can't wait, man. So let me ask you this: if Boo Boo wins, right? Does he get Canelo fight, or Canelo says nah? You still not big in my eyes.
It depends how he wins. If he looks like he embarrasses Benavidez, which it ain't impossible because we seen the rest of this year what happened. We seen what happened to other fighters this year. If he embarrasses Benavidez, no, Canelo's not fighting him.
Right.
If he barely wins, if he gets dropped, if he sustains damage when you fight Benavidez, you
Which
probably
is possible,
will.
yeah.
Then, yeah, he'll fight him because he'll be forced to, and he'll also see things that he will believe he could exploit.
So does he? If Benavidez win, do we finally see that fight? Or
if Benavidez wins,
yeah,
Canelo has no choice but to take that fight because the demand for Benavidez Canelo is way bigger than Andrade Canelo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if Canelo doesn't fight him, he'll lose the respect of 90% of the boxing public. And that's not hating on Canelo. That's just real
those
talk.
are facts. No, the pressure's on already. I mean, and that's why I think that it's also bothering. Like everybody's just like, that Benavidez winning this fight. We want the Canelo fight next. Like everybody's just talking about that fight next. And I'm like, yo, bro, hold on. This ain't no walk in the park. This ain't David Lemieux. This ain't Plant, and Plant is tough. And Boo Boo's like a 2.0 of Plant. He's him plus 1 or 2. So again, if Plant,
more than that, because he's better.
If Plant, listen, man, if Plant had the stamina, he probably wins that fight. He just gassed out, and then Benavidez hit that extra gear. And he always does, man. That's what makes him so dangerous.
Yeah, and he always will, and that's a problem. Yeah. And again, Plant he don't got enough to keep you off of him. He just don't. And you're not gonna be top tier punches with that kind of lack of power.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other fights, man.
Yes.
I'm telling you, don't flip don't go to the next video. Listen to what we're gonna say because these are good fights.
Very good fights.
Watch these fights from the beginning, bro. This ain't no only pay attention to the main event prediction. No, listen to me, man. Y'all gonna enjoy the other fights. These are good, solid fights. This is a pay-per-view card worth paying for. I do not mind giving Andrade and Benavidez my money at all. So starting off the night.